They are definitely picking up. That's for
People are
sure.
looking.
People
Woo!
are looking now with
Yeah.
those latest, shifts in, mortgages play a huge role, right? So
Yep.
definitely,
Yep.
a lot more activity, or you're seeing leads becoming active again that perhaps weren't as active because they have a little bit of encouragement to do so.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, all in all, it's I'm seeing a shift right now. And I don't know, I'd have to talk to like Sunny and them, but I noticed like for a bit there, like the Google leads were just so inflated to the point where it's just so many people were looking for work that it flooded the market of Google, right? So obviously when that happens, your cost per lead goes up. So we were finding a lot of people shifting to Facebook because of that. And now I'm starting to see, just because I create all their stuff, I'm seeing that the shift is kind of going back to Google again. So,
I
and
mean,
I don't know if
the
that,
price per lead is becoming more reasonable.
I
Yeah.
believe so, or it's more attractive. Maybe more people are dropping off of it. They kind of went all gung ho. And, it's the nature of online leads. Everyone's like, I need business. I'm going to spend all my money on this because apparently leads work. And then it doesn't,
Yeah.
they don't put in what they need to get the results. And so they all pull back out after they've spent so much money, right? So,
I think,
um,
Crystal, if I can interrupt, that's an
yeah.
important thing, which is not necessarily your job or agent locator's job to kind of fill in. But I think the behind the scenes is so important for those people like myself and everybody that's on board here, that we understand the dynamics of having the Google leads and
Mm-hmm.
why, what forces the prices up and what stops the searches. Because
Mm-hmm.
the common denominator is, well, I'm not getting what I want, so the company's no good. These leads are no good. But there's such a bigger picture when you're buying Google leads.
Mm-hmm.
But yet Google, look at like this person, I tell you, this one wants me. The phone ring replied. But that's where I think it's really important to kind of help and for everybody on here, if you ever do get frustrated because you're not seeing a lot of leads come in, or whatever your issue is, go to your locator and ask them, because
Mm-hmm.
once you understand the Google part of it, you will now understand why we see such a flow up and sometimes we
Mm-hmm.
see a flow down.
Yeah.
My leads
Yeah.
right now, I mean, I usually stay within the same budget, usually within $100. Sometimes if I get agents that want to join the team, so now I need to produce more leads, I'll kind of up my budget slightly, not a lot, but slightly.
Mm-hmm.
But my leads are exploding.
Mm-hmm.
Like my phone is dinging what seems to be every 15 minutes, a new
Yeah.
lead coming in, right? And I'm like, oh, people
Yeah.
are Googling,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely more people are going online. So it creates that, the ripple effect of the motivation just from the rate drop, right? So
Yeah.
that itself, with more people searching on Google, will help to drop the cost per lead because there's just that many more people that are searching out there. So um, and that's where it fluctuates, right? In different markets, and your cost per lead will go up sometimes, and then it drops back down. The key is really that you want to keep your ad going. So even if you're at a point where maybe money is tight and you just can't afford that expenditure at that time, or maybe you're focusing your marketing elsewhere, don't turn that ad off. Just drop your budget significantly because the
Please,
algorithms are still in place,
please.
right? we
Yes.
don't we don't want to cancel that out. You want to keep it going, just kind of what have
Yeah.
you. That way, when you're ready and you ramp it back up, those algorithms are already there. You're not having to start from scratch, and hopefully get to that same algorithm, because there's many cases where you're not going to, right? You're not going to get that same positive impact that your ad had prior to turning it off. And the
Mhm.
holidays is a great example for that are just around the corner. You know how many people drop their ads, turn them off in the month of December?
Yeah, I don't like,
even into November. Don't
right.
do it because your competition's doing that. That gives you that leverage because all of a sudden January, February is going to come
I'll
along
get them.
and they'll want to turn their
Yeah,
campaigns off and they're going
yeah,
like this and yours is already up here, right?
yeah.
So it gives you a huge advantage. So yeah, a lot of people, your cost per lead, it kind of hovers the same because again, the amount of people searching in the month of December kind of starts to, people have other things that they're focusing on, and moving unless they have to isn't necessarily one of them.
Mhm.
But it's, yeah, just keep those ads going. Pays off in the long run.
Yeah. I've always monitored, and welcome everybody. Sorry, we're not
Hmm.
ignoring you. And
Yeah.
yes, Mike, I completely agree. Agent Locator is a great dashboard to be able to put all of our leads. It doesn't have to just be for Agent Locator, Google leads, open house leads, you name it.
Hmm.
Everybody goes in there because I can set them all up to get listings, especially if they're an open house lead. Number two, I've got my drip email that I can also attach and assign to everybody. So any lead I come across is always in my agent locator. That is my go-to place because that's what I use to help bring people in Tara's car, right? So that's an amazing thing.
Hmm.
Throughout the years of me watching leads and converting leads, I've really grown to monitor and not freak out during certain periods of the year. So Christmas for sure is always a slower time. So if I don't get as many email notifications coming in, that we get because our leads are back on looking during that end of November right through to about the first week of January, that always tapers off for me. I don't panic. I always say, put yourself in the position of the lead. Am I busy with other things during that period of time? Yes. Are people opening up our emails with listings? Probably not near as often. So I don't panic. And I also notice a little bit of a downturn around that mid-July to mid-August point where
Hmm.
people tend to vacation a bit, where they're out, they're camping, they're doing this. So you're going to notice if you really monitor carefully that you don't need to freak out. You don't need to pause. You need to keep things going, but this is just normal human activity. Sometimes around January, February, I see a bit of a slowdown because people are going to Mexico and they're going to
Hmm.
Jamaica,
Yeah.
right? You're not going to
Hmm.
open up your listings every day. So,
Hmm.
I'll even sometimes I'll go into the email tab just to see, okay, am I seeing 7 or 8 days of sent, but they're not delivered? Then that tells me a whole story. And then maybe 2 weeks later, all of them are delivered and they're opened up. Oh, they were probably away. So it's always good to kind of not freak out, but kind of get used to that normal rhythm. The only
Hmm.
time there was an exception to that was straight up during COVID. During COVID, there was no slowdown.
Yeah.
The first time
Yeah.
in my 30-year career, I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I'm selling a dozen houses in December this year, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
they were just on looking all the time. Yeah.
And you know what? It's funny because it goes to both sides of the spectrum because I know in that time where everyone was just running around exhausted, they
Yeah.
were still complaining. Because it was like the complete opposite. They were too busy, too many offers at, multiple hours, too much, too much. The amount of hours that they were putting in to get one transaction done was just so overwhelming.
It
So
was a lot.
it,
Yeah.
it, and I've even had people that decided, you know what, I'm done. Like it was one of my clients. She was like, you know what, I spent my hourly rate just went because it was just exhausting. You couldn't win for losing, right? So,
Right.
I
It
think
did.
it's
It took
sometimes.
us so much longer to get our buyers to get one offer accepted.
Hmm.
This went from, what could have been a 30-day process maybe to six,
Yeah,
7 months, right?
yeah.
Oh, I've already done, I'm on offer 18 with these people and they still lost. And
Yeah.
it was such a different dynamic. And I feel like some of us, maybe you guys too, put your thoughts in the comments. But you know, that was a time where we were all insane. And as a listing agent, you are a bit spoiled because you
Yeah.
knew it didn't matter how bad the house was, it was selling.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Right? And I'm getting paid. Like it just was a given. And then sometimes now we're in such a different market, or was until, you know, I do think things are going to change very, very soon. And
Hmm.
now we wish we could go back to that, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you don't like now it's like, oh, I wish it was those stuff we went through with
Yeah.
buyers and trying to keep those buyers still wanting to buy. The
Hmm.
mental issues that so many people went through over COVID on the buy side going, I give up. I don't
Hmm.
want to do this anymore. And yet we need to kind of continue to pick them up. It's okay. Maybe this was meant to be. You're telling them anything and everything that you
Yeah.
can in order to keep them in your car. It was exhausting on so many different levels.
Hmm.
Exhausting.
Yeah.
Think gas prices weren't what they are today. That's the only
Yeah.
increase. We weren't spending as much on gas, but
Yeah.
I would love to know what everybody else is experiencing now in the market. That
Hmm.
rate change definitely, I think, has put a little bit of an urgency to some people. I'm still not seeing a complete gung ho, but I do think it's going to happen. I really believe it's going to
Hmm.
happen very soon. But
Yeah.
yeah, let us know, everybody. Don't be afraid to put something in the chat.
This might be a busy November, December for some, right? With those
Yeah.
transactions. And think of it this way. Um, well, I think of it this way anyway, just because I moved the time that I was like, I'll never move this time again, is, those purchases in November, December are often like spring closings, right? So
Mhm.
I know that's where a lot of people, they put their house on the market in the spring because they want to move before the summer. I did that and I felt like I just felt so obligated to my house, like, all the loose ends. I'm like, well, that's the last thing I want to be doing all summer is feeling obligated. I'm like, there's so many things I could be doing that
Right.
in the colder months, right?
Yeah.
So that's another way, to kind of look at it, even when you're talking to your leads. So the benefit of, purchasing something in November, December is that you're going to be into your new house where it's still
Right.
kind of iffy outside. You're not going to feel as guilty being homebound because you need to attend to this and that and that. And then that
Yeah.
frees up the late spring and summer for you. So you're not, tied up with all your
True.
new obligations with your move.
It's true. It's very true. How's everybody experiencing the market? Do you have any questions for us? I
Mm-hmm.
definitely am noticing for sure, 100% what you said. There is a lot of activity going on with my leads, with the email notifications. There's a lot of people in the last week that are wanting to kind of request a tour a little bit more often. I had a lead come in for one of my agents, and I get a copy of when they request a tour. Popped in, requested a tour. She was out doing an offer with him. She took him out the next day. They did an offer last night. It didn't come together. It ended
Mm-hmm.
up in a bit more. But you know, I looked at that and kind of went, well, there you go. Here's another story where it didn't take 2 years to get a buyer's rep signed. She's actively got him back out today,
Yeah.
looking at more houses. You know, you never know. And somebody came on and needed an agent. They
Yeah.
weren't already working with somebody. You can't make this up. Yeah.
No,
Okay.
exactly. Exactly.
Um,
Um,
can you read that in the chat, hun?
yeah, it says, I'm not on leads considering exactly afraid the market is too slow. Have one condo listing for sale, one detached lease, no showing. So no showings on those
Yeah, I
listings.
have one too. We've got a condo right now in Mississauga, or I lie, Oakville. Instead,
Hmm.
just nothing, no activity. But Marilla, are you getting leads? I'm reading I may not in leads. Are you currently on Agent Locators leads? Because you know, if you're not, you're not in yet. Okay. So, you
Hmm.
know, there's some reasonable budgets. I mean, I don't work for them, so they can certainly go over that. But, you know, the nice thing about being part of a lead system and getting agent locator leads is even when the market is a bit slower, even when your business is a bit slower, every lead that comes into your dashboard is is such a greater opportunity for you to do business with that person. I
Mm-hmm.
look at everybody when they hit my phone, new lead comes in, they're already my client in my mind, right? And it
Mm-hmm.
makes me happy. So it might be worth considering, eh, Crystal?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like the listings are coming on. So if you look at your website,
Hmm.
you're able to see, and you can even search what listings, how many listings. Well, you guys can do this on your back ends of Trevor, what have you. How many listings are coming on the market? So we're only at 1 o'clock in the afternoon today. Within the last day, and I just picked one city. I picked Oshawa, just
Sure.
for whatever. In the last, not even to the end of the day, there has already been 23 listings today in Oshawa. In the last seven days, there's been 122 properties listed for sale.
Yeah.
So it really depends on the market that you're in. But there is activity. Excuse me. There is activity, 100%. It's just a matter, are we pursuing that activity, and we're pursuing the opportunities that are out there? Are we kind of hoping, or whatever it is that we're doing, what are we doing proactively to gain those listings or gain those buyers?
Right. Marilla's making a good point, and people have asked me this as well
Mm-hmm.
multiple times. When you're not busy, you're afraid to invest. Listen, I'm a single mom. I've been on my own now for 18 years. I don't have any other job. Well, I'm the manager of the brokerage. But I get it. I get it. It is all on these what I feel like are very big shoulders. So I completely understand. I
Mm-hmm.
think where you guys and where I really had to say to myself, what am I investing in? This is my full-time career. This is my job. I have to get to where the people are. And right now in our industry, our buyers and sellers are Google searching. Years ago, before the internet, when I first started in this business and we carried bell pagers, we door knocked. That's what we did to get in front of people. But now this is an opportunity for you to be where everybody is. So
Mm-hmm.
you have to look at it from a business strategy. And if there's issues with you affording to invest, I just say have the conversation with Agent Locator, because maybe you're gonna start with Facebook leads and go into Google leads. I
Mm-hmm.
will tell you what my experience from buying Google leads, and I've been buying them now for 19 years, not this whole time with Agent Locator since 2016. I have always more than doubled, tripled my investment in what I spent for leads by just doing even one deal.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of how you have to look at it. You kind of got to take your mind to another level
Yeah.
and look at it as a legitimate business expense. And we know our Canadian government likes to see us spend money on our business. So always
Yeah.
remember too, it's a write-off for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is a business expense. So think about it that way if you can, if you can.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I know people that have invested together. I know
Yeah.
two agents that were like, okay, I don't have a big budget. I don't have a big budget. Why don't we combine? Why don't we do it together? Split the leads, Bob's your uncle. There's lots
Mm-hmm.
of things you can do. Yeah.
Oh, there's tons, right? And
Oh,
really, it it's holding yourself accountable as well to do what you need to do to make sure you get the business in the first place. And some of us, yes, maybe money is tight, but ultimately, go door knocking, right? Go door knocking. Say, you know what, I can't afford to pay for this, so I'm going to have to do it manually for now, right? And go in front and get those people in front of you, add them to your dashboard, put them on the street natch, right? So there is ways that you can do it, even using your social accounts, posting every day about this and that, and build their following that way. So there's all different creative ways that you can do it until you gain the extra resources to fund any advertising. Or if you're in a market that offers rental listings, that's always a great way to get in the door, because you don't have to spend as much to achieve a higher amount of leads. And then
yeah.
you start to get good at that. you start to, obviously have more money to throw back into your marketing.
Yeah.
And you can either pull back completely off the rentals, or you lower that limit and have it supplement your advertising costs. So one rental transaction a month funds my Google for all my buyers, right? So there's different ways that you can do it, and sometimes it's just stepping stones to get there.
But you know what she says? I guess now I'm afraid of myself.
Yeah.
You know that you're a great agent. You know that as a commission salesperson, it's our responsibility to have multiple pillars to our business, right? Even Richard Robbins still says every agent should have 3 to 5 pillars, right? This is one pillar. And this is just taking your business to a whole other level. I'll give you guys just for anybody that's kind of like, oh, sometimes I think about quitting. Listen, I mean, every day I think about leaving real estate and going to Walmart and being a greeter. I'm not gonna lie.
You can hand out your business card. You can just hand out your business card. You can do both
that's
at the
it.
same
Yeah,
time.
I'm out of
Everyone.
Walmart greeter. We're good. We're good. We're good. I'll live in a tent. It's all good. Yesterday was a very stressful day for me with clients, and it's a weird year. People are affected. People are sad. People are not deals. The deals were fine, but they reach out to me for when they're not having good days. So I look at it this way. I will always take the time to invest in my business. I don't invest when I don't have the money. So, if I know I can only afford $200 a month, then I'm investing what I can afford. Nobody's asking you to spend beyond your means. But I'm going to give you an example. Single woman, 2 children, only person working in real estate, right? It's just me. And I do this because of my why. I never lose focus of why I'm sitting at this table in front of you guys. This is because of my 2 children, Austin and Andrew, grown men. They ask nothing of me, but I'm here because of them. I always, always, always never forget what my why is, because that's what brings me to the table. So I invest. I know that every lead has their own time. I know I'm not going to get all my leads, but I also know that if I just hang in there, when they are ready to buy or to sell, they're going to think of Tara Baylis first, because I'm the one that's been reaching out to them for 6 years, 5 years, 10 years, 30 days, whenever that time is. So I always do deals, and every year it fluctuates, every year. But 2021, we were just really in COVID, weren't we? 1 year in. So we had lockdowns and we didn't have lockdowns, and we were masking. We all know. We all know. But we were all doing a lot of business, especially if you had a lot of listings. I buy buyer leads. Most of my buyers have houses to sell. It's always been that way. So when I pick up a buyer, 99% of the time I pick up their listing. This was a crazy year. It was for all of us. But I was buying average amount of leads for myself. And of course, I had just had, I think, 2 agents asked to come and work with me. So there was, I think, 3 of us at the time. I paid for my leads, for the management, all those charges that we get. My website with Agent Locator, the bill at the end of the month or end of the year was $24,000. So that was my cost for leads, my website, my tag marketing, blah, 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 blah. For the leads alone that year, 2021, my gross GCI for the Agent Locator leads was $294,000. And that has been the case. Now it changes, right? My gross GCI the next year might be lower, it might be higher. But just to give you an idea, all I paid was $24,000. I have my systems in place. I have my email drip campaign. I always time block my leads, but my GCI is always more than what I have paid as an expense. And that's where we all have to take a step back and go, yes, it's going to be a lot of money for you. Yeah, it will. But I guarantee the payoff is always going to be more per year,
Mm-hmm.
depending on the time that you want to invest in it. So
Yep.
I hope that helped. All right.
Yeah.
Gotta believe in yourself
Yep.
first. Yeah.
It's usually that first transaction will cover your expenses, even if you're, and Tara obviously spends probably a little bit more. But that first transaction that you get is going to cover all your advertising costs and website costs with Agent Locator.
Yep.
And then you'll still have money left over.
It just takes
So,
one. It's
yeah.
one deal and you've well paid for it. And
Mm-hmm.
then some,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that's where I think it becomes really difficult for a lot of us, right? And there is, as realtors, an insane amount of expenses that we face.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, I wish that, it's made public knowledge before everybody takes the course, because I think many take it thinking, oh, it's quick and easy, and then going, what?
Yeah. Yeah. It's
We've got the
not.
wellness program that's coming up
Mm-hmm.
again. Just not
Mm-hmm.
to put a heavy downer on everything, but the end of December, we got to pay now another, what is it, 650 to
Yeah.
be to the wellness program. So I hear you, but stay with it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How's everybody else finding that? I know Ali Khan said something. I missed it. Can you?
Yeah, it was basically when a lead blocks your number, would you still nurture them through an email, etc.? I know I've been blocked because it always goes straight to voicemail for several days. And Ali, have you tried both your Twilio number and your cell phone number, alternate
Good
numbers
question.
to contact this person? Because sometimes they might block the one number, but the other number is not blocked. So,
That's a good question, because Ali, I can't remember if you got a copy of my email drip campaign. We met, so I could help tutor him a little bit on leads. But is your texting going through? Which would mean the Twilio is still okay,
mm-hmm,
right? I
yeah.
guess the question would be, I believe in calling, and this is going to seem really weird for those of you that have followed me. You know that I am no longer a call when the lead comes in, call till they answer the phone. I have a whole system into when I'm going to introduce my voice to a lead, which is what I call making a call. And I have so much weight on this amazing email drip program that I have. It works without me having to pick up the phone. So if you're finding a lot of your leads are blocking your number, I mean, we all do it. Don't take offense, because you're a good realtor, Ali. I know you. Don't take offense. I do the same thing, right? Another duct cleaning company comes in, boom, I'm good.
Yeah.
Right? So maybe take a minute if you're seeing it happen more often than not, and just say to yourself, am I calling too much? Do I need to kind of switch it around a little bit? Maybe the call isn't going to be on day 1. Maybe I should be making the call on day 7, right? And I think you can come with some sort of even keel.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if he's replied.
He
No.
just said, Twilio, yeah, he texted, Twilio is working. Yeah. And it is trial and error, really. Like if one number you feel is blocked, use the other number, right? So you have the advantage of
Yeah.
having,
Yeah.
probably, access to 3 numbers, one being your Twilio, your cell phone, and your office number, right?
Yeah.
So, use what you have. But again, yeah, continue to send them emails. Why not? They might just be in a
They did
position where they're
knocked
not,
out.
yeah,
They did
they might,
knocked out. Yep.
and they just might be in a position where they're not ready to have that conversation just yet on the phone, right? So, and you have to be okay with that.
And I think I would, Ali, if you're going to start using Twilio instead and you're getting the same reaction, then you need to understand this person really is not a person that wants to talk to you on the phone. So rely on the other. That drip email campaign is huge for making an impression on leads. And never forget, everybody, really, when the leads register, all they want to see is listings every day. So even if you're making sure that you're setting them up, you're expanding the search criteria a little bit so they get a little bit of everything from you so they can reply to your drip, that's what they want. They're already, you're creating an impression even with your name going in their inbox every day. And I think that's where we kind of forget that because we haven't been able to talk to them, you know, yet, we're forgetting that you're already making this massive impression on these people just by your name in their inbox every day, right? That's why I never delete. If they say I'm not ready yet, it's 5 years, good, we're good. We're good. Because in 5 years, you're going to think of Tara, right? Yeah.
100%. 100%.
Awesome.
Never delete your leads. And you can't delete them anyway with us. But you know what? There is, and again, a lot of us get frustrated with the leads, or we kind of push them to the side because they're not ready. Oh, we're just browsing. They're like, oh, garbage. This person's not going to do anything. They're still valuable leads. And again, you still want to nurture them. So don't throw them into your archive. You still want to be sending them the listings 100%. Because again, like Tara says, sometimes people are in your system for 3, 4, 5, 10 years. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it seems, they're reaching out to you, right? So again, it really comes down to, you know, the initial thought of this person coming online in the first place to look at listings. We have no idea what brought them to your website, right? So they may have just moved, or they're just checking out a neighborhood's house that was for sale, whatever it might be, with no intentions of moving just yet. So again, it's really leaving them in there and then nurturing them, because they will come to life. Not all of them, obviously, but you know, the more we put into our leads, more likely we're going to increase the numbers that do become responsive to us further down the road.
Yeah, it's really important to hang in there. And that's the problem with being commission salespeople. Of course, we want immediate results. We're all the same. But that's where, you know, for anybody that's done one-on-one training with me, and even here at the brokerage, because we've just introduced a lead program within this brokerage, I'm meeting with them every single month to what I call hold everybody accountable, talk about the leads, but really what the really big thing is to make sure that their mindset is okay. Your mindset when it comes to converting leads is just as important as an email drip campaign and setting them up to get listings and making a call if that's what you choose. You have to understand that these people will move whenever they're ready. And if you look hungry, if you pressure too hard, you've lost them. You have lost them. I have gained so many conversions because of agents that are calling the lead, because they're on mine, they're on everybody else's, calling the lead so much, and they've reverted back to me because I'm just soft touching them with a nice drip campaign and hearing listings. So, you know, I know that I have a 90% greater chance of every lead that comes into my dashboard doing business with if I hadn't have invested at all. And that keeps my mindset huge, right? That's okay. You're not ready. That's fine. I'll be here when the time is right for you. That's always my go-to line. And usually they'll reply back and go, oh my God, thanks so much, Tara. Right? Now I'm using the task, and now I'm creating a check-in with them, right? Just talk to so-and-so. This is what they said. I'm going to do a check-in, but I'm not going to do a check-in in 3 months, whatever the time is, and say, are you ready? I'm just going to do a check-in to say, hey, it's Tara. I want to touch base again. You're still looking at listings. Let me know if you need help. You see, the approach is so different, and it's so soft, but it's all here because I don't want to give up on any of those people. Like I said, they don't know it, but as soon as they come in my dashboard, I think they're already my client.
Yeah.
That's okay, Sarah. We'll get you in 20 years. It's all good.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Right. And really, it might not even be those people you're getting. It could be the referrals that you're gaining from those people that aren't even moving, just by, you know, being, you know, supportive and understanding and okay with the fact that they're not ready to move. Right. So a lot of people, when it comes to sales and generally, doesn't matter what industry, people kind of go, you know, and so it's kind of alleviating that initial impact that the lead is feeling, or even handling that objection right out of the gate and letting them know,
Yeah.
like, you handle it before it becomes one.
Sure.
And then that lets them, aware, like, hey, I'm not here to sell you anything. I just want to check in to make sure the listings you're receiving are matching what you would be looking for at some point down the road.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
It's, so you're alleviating them of any kind of pressure at that point.
Yeah. And I think, you know what, guys, we're coming to that time of year as well. I create it's a very fine line, but I create a nice touch on certain holiday location, like holidays throughout the year. So I don't really involve my leads every single month. It's, St. Patty's Day or Valentine's Day, but having your leads also see another part of you can also actually bring them to trust you even more. So don't be afraid for those that do partake in Christmas to, send out a nice holiday wish. Don't make it real estate, just make it nice, soft, and general. It will impact people and they will reply back. When we had COVID, one of my biggest touches that I've ever had people reply was me taking a minute and going, okay, the world seems like it's falling apart. I think we all kind of felt that way when it first happened. Like, what do you mean all the businesses are closed? Like, it was such a big thing that I remember sitting at the desk in my office and my son was with me. And I remember saying, I cannot not reach out to these leads and see if they're okay. I mean, I know how I'm feeling. And they think of me as what? Just a realtor, right? But let me just say something. So I composed an email that just basically said, we're all kind of wondering what is going on in the world right now. I know you're getting listings from me, but I'm more than just a realtor. And it wasn't very long, but it was enough to say, if anybody needs food, I will make sure that there's food delivered to your front porch. When the grocery stores were closed, elderly, it wasn't long, but it was what I would have wanted to receive if the tables were turned. So I sent it out as a mass email to everybody. Didn't matter what location, everybody got it. I stopped counting, I think, at 150 replies. It was unbelievable. And it was people that were just sharing, I'm so afraid, or, oh my God, I can't believe you sent this out. You've just set yourself apart from anybody else. We all needed that little bit of compassion. And I learned from that, even all of these years that I've been doing this, I learned that I need to think about sometimes that small little personal thing. Sometimes when I send out a newsletter, I'll get 20 unsubscribes. And I look at that always as a learning tool. Okay, so they don't really like that every month, but what would they like? There's lots of ways, if you think outside the box, for you to do those additional touches to bring that lead just a little bit closer to trusting Christina, Allie, Austin, Fiona, Gabe, Harmon, and now I've got to scroll down. If you know what I mean, there's such a big picture and we hold ourselves in this small box going, I got to call or I got to do this. Well, what if you tried something different to show that you're just as human as they are?
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure. And it's really, it's, that email also creates a lot, in that scenario, is really creating trust with your leads. They have to be able to trust you in the information that you're providing them. So again, taking a step back and taking your sales hat off is necessary when you are working these online leads.
Very much. Nobody wants a salesman type approach, which is why I don't. And when I do make calls, there was a few years ago, I wrote a phone scenario book where I kind of gave based on agent locators email notifications. And I gave about 8 scenarios of when I would take a minute and introduce my voice to them, which is my version of making a call. It just seems less daunting for me if I say, oh, I'm going to introduce my voice to so-and-so today.
Yeah.
I know I'm
Yeah.
weird. Trust me. It's
It's
not
just it's a mindset thing. That's all.
a weird thing, but that makes me feel like I'm not putting pressure on myself. And
Hmm.
when I started going, okay, if I start noticing this in their email notifications, I'm going to just call and say this. It made it different and it made it more impactful when I did take the time to make the calls based on those scenarios. And
Hmm.
all of you guys can do the same thing because you notice different things with your leads as well,
Yeah.
right? So maybe if your leads are doing this particular thing, maybe now you make a call and maybe now you say something very small.
Hmm.
Yeah, not survey like, right?
Yeah. Genuine conversations. Genuine conversations. Now, I know Harmon's, there's always everyone looking for your drips because I know they're amazing and they work so well for you. How are you, how are you making out? Because I know you were starting or trying to start up again with your coaching, or are you only offering that to people that are in your brokerage right now, or?
Yes, we haven't officially reopened. I'm still working with the agent from Alberta to
Mhm.
help me. My I want to say yes to everybody.
Yeah.
It was such a great response when I opened it during COVID. I think the official opening was 2022. My worry is that I can't make myself available to be able to do it the way that I believe it should be done. Um,
Hmm.
and that's where I'm kind of on the fence still.
Yeah,
Uh, there's
I
just
understand that.
I'm getting older, but I'm not getting hours of my day. That's the problem. But my son and I talk about this every single week. How can we do this? How can we make it work? And I can't say that it's off the table. And
Hmm.
Priscilla, if she does continue to come on board, would be an incredible coach with me, which would alleviate a lot of pressure from
Hmm.
me. But you
Yeah,
would still have me too. So
yeah.
it's
It's a balancing act, is what it sounds
I'm
like.
sorry. Yeah, I really
No,
want to
you
say,
know, and then in hindsight, I guess, because some of these individuals have been on your webinars before, some have not. Um, Obviously we can't just hand out our own business packages and what have you, but if you want to let everyone kind of know the structure of your campaigns or the kind of the tone that you use when you're writing and composing your emails and what that
mhm,
consists of, so that again we always encourage you guys to go create your own content, because it's going to sound like yourself. You don't want to sound like Tara and then they get Crystal on the phone, he's sounds very different talking, because you can tell the
yeah,
tone of somebody based on how they write as well as how they speak, right?
sure,
So
yeah.
we want
And
it to be your own.
I think for sorry, I feel like I might have ADD. I'm self-diagnosed, but
Yeah.
I'm always moving around.
Yeah.
Um, I have always chosen when I started becoming very good at converting leads. And if anybody knows my story, it started about 19, almost 20 years ago when we actually first got realtor.ca, because that was the first time we were just used as agents. We were used to people calling us and paging us if they wanted info on a property, right? Like
Hmm. Hmm.
you knew how to get people into the house by talking to them on the phone.
Hmm.
And then realtor.ca came into fruition, and now all of a sudden there was this little button that people could press to email you for more info, and they weren't putting in their phone, they only had an email. So
Hmm.
at that point in time, I knew that I had to figure out a way with my words to get these people into the house that they were inquiring about. And that's how it started. I know how I talk to people, but I had to take that and develop it through one email. And that's what it started with. And what I've always done in my entire career is I always say, how would I receive this email if I got it? Would I like it, or would I be, this is too salesman?
Hmm.
And that's how I proceed with my email drip campaign. It's now 121 days. I have it going out. That's emails. Plus, I think I have 3 or 4 text in it as well. SMS, I guess I should say. And it starts as soon as the lead comes in, but the first email that goes out is on day 5. And just think of it like this. They're brand new on there. Your first email that you send them, what are they going to want to hear from you, right? They've only been getting listings from you for 5 days, so they're being slowly, you're branding slowly because they're getting listings. And now you just want to take a minute on day 5 and basically introduce yourself. So when you really sit at your desk and go, okay, what would I want to hear on day 5 from somebody that is sending me listings because I landed on an unbranded landing page? And that's how you start your email drip campaign. Never forget that when you're creating it, yes, you're a salesman. Yes. But you have to be thinking how it's going to be received. So we don't want it too long. We know that people will not read it. Like, if you send me a long email, forget about it.
No, it's very unrealistic.
Right?
People will look at it as if like they never took the time and
I know.
wrote this to me, right? So
You know what? And we do tend to kind of go on and on because you kind of want to get everything in there. But listen, we're commission salespeople. Remember what we say, you don't give away the farm until they
yeah,
buy the milk. Is that the way it goes?
I don't know.
Get those things wrong. Right? So it's like that old style marketing that we used to do 30 years ago. You would always want to leave an email with a question for them to reply. You want to give a little bit of info, but you're not giving too much because you want them to reply. And that's how you have to take it. Now, my email drip campaign, I've included some, of course, hey, thanks for coming on my site. I really appreciate that you continue to look at listings. If you want me to change your search, just let me know. All you got to do is reply to this email. It's so short and sweet, right? Then another email 5 days later, maybe, hey, have you thought about getting pre-approved? I work with some of the best industry partners. Let me know, and I'll pass along their names. I'm always here to help. Very non-threatening, right? Another email, everybody, is, you know what, I was wondering, what's really important to you in a home? Do you need to be close to the 401? Do you need transit? Let me know, and I'll revise your search for you. Such basic things. My email drip campaign as well, because I know most of these people will also have houses to sell. Down the drip campaign, I'm now approaching the subject. I think one of my subject lines is, should I sell or should I buy? And I was thinking about that song, should I stay or should I go? I myself, that was back in the early 80s, right? That's where I came up with that kind of line. And then I kind of just said, this is a question I get asked all the time. Here's what I think. Very, very, very short and sweet. Sorry, my phone is ringing yet again. And that's what I did. So I incorporate in my drip the sale process. Listen, a lot of agents offer a lot of different commission packages. Here's what some you might come across. Did you know that this is what I do as standard for all of my sellers? That's it in a nutshell. Just think about what you would want to hear, and we'll go from there. Did I lose you?
Nope. Just taking it all in, Tara. I'm frozen.
It's a lot.
It is, but I know it's very impactful and good advice, because I think a lot of us, we tend to overthink everything, right? So when we're putting those emails together, we kind of come into a roadblock a little bit, just due to our own overthinking. But a good thing that you mentioned was put yourself in their shoes. Sign up. What would you expect or want or be more responsive to on, a couple days after, 5 days, or a week after, 10 days after signing up, that may be of value to you, that, is also non-threatening, right? It's just like, hey, I got you. I understand, like, things are different for everyone, right? And so that non-threatening approach, I imagine, receives a higher level of responses because of the fact that they're not feeling it doesn't sound salesy, doesn't sound gimmicky, it doesn't sound pre-scripted, like those
Right.
extensive emails that we know when you get it. It's like, hey, just want to touch base. Blah, blah, blah. Like, you didn't just sit there and
Yeah.
write this for me, right? So
Yeah.
it comes across as more genuine, right? So shorter, sweeter, non-threatening, genuine.
And don't forget, if the market's changing a little bit, you know, I look at this, I tweak my drip campaign usually every couple of months. I'll go back
Mm-hmm.
in. And that's a nice thing about Agent Locator because it's in the email campaign editor. So it's easy for me to call it up and browse it, you know, scroll
Mm-hmm.
down. And then if the market's changed a little bit, then you're going to reword. You're just going to change a few lines and make sure that when it's going out, it's always current market conditions. And that is easy to do. And there's sometimes too that I will actually pull an email out because you know what? I can test an email in a drip, but if I'm really not getting a lot of response, then I might want to pull it out and put something back in that might,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? I'm always thinking about new ways every 5 days to just touch base with these people.
Mm-hmm.
Also, kind of like I've been Googling what are the best subject lines. It's a full-time job in itself, don't you know?
Yeah.
Because the biggest thing is it's one thing to send an email, but we need them to open it. So that subject line has to be really creative,
Use Chat
right?
GTP. Come on now. Yeah, you know how much you give me 15
I
creative
try not
subject
to,
lines
but
for
you know,
emails for
I know.
buyers. Like,
I
and it's like
tell
boom,
you,
boom, 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 boom. You're like,
I
oh,
know.
oh, these are good,
True. It's
right?
true. Now,
Oh,
my
yeah.
emails, I don't use Chat GPT. I never have, but I've always
No.
wanted to be a writer. Writing is something that comes very easy for me. But when
Mm-hmm.
it comes to a subject line, that I think is, I've always Googled what are the ways, how should you word things, just so that I know that it, you know, if I have it right, people will open it up.
Mm-hmm. No,
Yeah,
absolutely, absolutely, and you can really monitor that too. And we
I
are
do.
hopefully coming out with a feature for that, for
Okay, thank
campaigns,
you.
to see the
Thank
success
you.
rate of those campaigns. So that, I think, for a lot of people who do want to play around with campaigns, will hopefully, we'll see. It depends on what the
Yeah,
team comes up with. But it would add a lot of value to everyone that's playing and configuring campaigns to know exactly which content
yeah.
is can go. Can go. It's not adding any value or benefit. And okay, well, this one obviously never gets replied to or even opened. It's time to restructure, replace
Right.
this, right? So
Now, listen, guys, we're saying in here this new Morella, this new technology turns me off. Listen, let me tell you something. I'm old school too, right? Agent Locator's got a lot of features that are really good for maybe the younger generation because that's so into them. You don't have to use them. Understand you can make this work whatever way is comfortable for you.
mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm,
still write my emails. I still figure out the subject lines on my own.
yeah,
You need to believe in yourself, girl, because I believe in
mm-hmm,
you. You can
yeah.
do this, but you don't have to use all the little widgets or
No,
whatever you call it.
you
You
don't
don't,
have to use them all. There's sometimes that I like using them when I get, and obviously I wouldn't put an email together that's created by AI. But when you're stuck, like, what are some, catchy subjects for a blog post about
I love that.
redecorating old houses, right? And it'll give you suggestive ideas without you having to sit there being like, oh, what would be creative, right?
Right.
It kind of, and then you
Yeah.
use what it is, but you can also ask questions like, what are the most commonly keywords used on Google to search for homes with basement apartments? Like, it'll tell you that stuff. So
That's really important. It is.
it's just
Yeah.
using a new tool. Trust me, I'm still learning it and the capabilities of
Yeah.
it. But once you kind of like, you're like, oh, this is pretty handy to have for certain
Right.
things, right?
Right.
For certain things,
Yeah.
it's pretty handy to have.
But you know what? I think overall, what we know is at the end of this discussion, as much as everybody's going to have their own version of what their email drip is, you guys need to do you. The reason that they asked me to be part of this, gosh, Crystal, are we pushing 4 years now or 3 years?
I
Is
don't know.
because
I have to go back. Look.
get agent locator, you get the leads, you can get overwhelmed, and you forget that having an email drip campaign, which is something that I've always done, allows you to assign it to your leads and know that your leads are being touched while you're out busy driving and showing and listing
Mhm.
houses. It's an element that a lot of agents forget about because they're so focused on, well, I've got to sit and make the calls. Well, yeah, you can make a call, but the power behind when you're busy is that solid email drip campaign. There's a lot of templates that Agent Locator already has that you can start with, use, or tweak. Just
Mhm.
tweak it, right?
Yeah.
And then that's step one. Remember, this is a pillar of our business, and you're putting yourself where everybody is searching.
Mhm.
Even if I need a part on my car or if I need something fixed, I don't go to my manual, I go to Google,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? That's the era that we're living in. So that's why I'm
Mhm.
really glad that I invest in the Google Leads, because I know as a commission salesperson, I'm doing everything I can to put myself where everybody is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I hope that was
Absolutely.
good for everybody.
Yeah. And use those templates, edit them. They're there. The foundation is there. Tweak them. I always encourage everyone, tweak them so it sounds like yourself, because you may not communicate that
Yes,
way to people you talk to.
you're welcome.
So, but yeah,
You're
great.
welcome. Yeah. Well, that was good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I got agents
Awesome.
calling me, and we're
There
in
you
the middle
go.
of time back. I tell you, it never
Good.
ends.
There you are. There you are. Well, thanks, Tara.
Um,
Thanks, everyone.
we're doing one next month, correct? We're not shutting.
November, I believe. Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
Yep.
So
Yep.
probably the end of December. I normally do the last Tuesday of the month, so probably that end of December we won't do one, I'm sure.
No, I can't say December is going to be a good.
I'll be following Crystal.
No, I don't even know if we're open on that
you.
day, but
Okay.
actually, I think it's what is December? The last Tuesday is the 31st. Yeah, New Year's Eve. Yeah, where it's. I don't think anyone's going to pop in here on the 31st.
You know what? It's realtors. If we
Yeah.
work so much,
Yeah, I
everybody's like,
know.
do you ever take a day off? And I always say this, think I'll have Christmas Day off? Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're more than welcome.
Yeah. Mixed
Hopefully
party.
everybody's got good. Thank you for being part of this.
Yes.
We
Enjoy your
got
day,
you,
everyone.
everybody.
Okay. Bye.
Bye, Crystal. Peace
Bye.
out.
Yep.